Today, we're going to talk about how grace meets adversity and how adversity meets grace. Can the two coexist together? We're going to find out. We're going to talk about that just for a few minutes this afternoon. I'm going to start with telling you a little story, a short story. You know how we used to love stories when we went to school? Well, this story I heard quite a long time ago. Now I've added to it over the years. I keep making the story a little bit longer and adding to it. But bear with me and you'll know where I'm going with it, okay? This story is about a donkey. Yes, a donkey. Now, in my part of the world, I don't see donkeys very often. I think there may be some around, but I'm just not sure. Now, in other parts of the world, there are more donkeys. There's a famous one in the Bible. It was a donkey that Mary rode to Bethlehem to give birth to Jesus. So that was a very famous donkey. But the one I'm talking about today in my story is not famous. In fact, he was one rejected little donkey. You see, there was a man that owned this donkey, and he wanted to get rid of him. He wasn't of much value anymore. He wasn't working as hard as he used to. He was just basically taking up space. But this man didn't have the heart to shoot this donkey. So he thought, what am I going to do with him? So he thought, I'll just throw him in this nearby pit while I'm deciding what to do with him. So there he went into the pit. Now, this just wasn't any pit. This was a pit that the workers in the field and the farm would throw discarded items in. They would throw garbage in, anything that they didn't want anymore. They would throw in this pit. So here's this donkey. He had a choice. The first thing he could have done was be angry and say, why are they throwing all this in on me? I don't deserve this. This is not fair. This is a huge misunderstanding. And it would have been understandable for him to feel that way. Or he could have said, well, this is all I deserve. I was being a little bit slack. I wasn't doing my part. I wasn't quite good enough. So I'm just going to curl up in a corner here and play small, play little, and take what I deserve. I'll probably just die here. Or there's two other things he could have done. He could have said, well, maybe I don't have to die here. Maybe I can exist in this pit. Maybe it won't be that bad after all. Some of these items they're throwing in look quite useful to me. I could probably use some of them. Why don't I just decorate this place? I can reside here. I can stay here. I mean, after all, they don't like me anymore anyway. They want to get rid of me, so I'll just stay here and I'll just live here. I can fix it up pretty good. He could have done that. The other thing he could have done is say, no, I am not going to give up. I am not going to die in this pit. I will figure it out one way or the other, but I will get out of this pit. So this is what he did. He looked at each discarded item, each piece of garbage, each thing that was thrown in, and he looked at it and he said, I'm not going to make friends with this because I'm not going to be here. He used each thing as a stepping stone, as a building block to get out of that pit. Now, I have added a lot to that story, and I'll probably keep adding more to it. I like that story. He kept stepping up, shaking it off and stepping up, shaking it off and stepping up until he could walk away. Now, I like to think this donkey was a donkey that was full of grace, that he didn't get out of that pit and go back and look for revenge. He just quietly walked away to greener pastures to look for somebody that would appreciate him for who he really was, to look for someone that wouldn't reject him and discard him like this past man did. So sometimes we feel like that in life, like life is unfair and we've just been discarded or rejected. So, excuse me. So, I did a little research on grace in adversity, and there's so much uh, on grace, and I am going to give you some homework before you leave to and go to your search engine and look up everything you can on grace, what it means in our world, what it means biblically, and you'll find so much. But this is a little bit of what I found. Grace, smooth, attractive, not stiff or awkward, controlled, polite, pleasant, having social skills. We love that. The biblical term is unmerited divine assistance from God. Favor from God. Who doesn't want favor from God? The Bible is full of stories of grace and how we can find favor with God. John 16:33 says that in this world we will have trouble. So even though the Bible tells us we will have adversity, just like that donkey had, he has grace for us, unmerited favor and grace, and he just gives it to us freely whenever we ask him for it. Now, think about the swans. They are graceful. And we think about a tree sometimes where adversity comes and blows that tree and blows that tree. If that tree is rooted properly, it will be able to withstand the adversity. It has made up its mind. It's not going to give in. It's not going to quit. Just like this donkey made up his mind, he wasn't going to give in to what was being thrown at him. So a little bit of background to that. When we have things come against us that are not, it's just not fair. Maybe we feel rejected. Maybe we feel misunderstood. It's more about them than it is about us. It's more about perhaps their insecurities than it is about us. So we have to let them be them. It's on them what they do. But if we want to be a woman of grace, we have to have that quiet, still confidence in that we know who we are. We might be weak many, many times, but we can ask God for strength and he will give it to us to withstand the storm, to become that woman of grace, to do what we have to do to take the next step, to move forward, not to give up and say, I've done everything I could, I just give up, I'm not going to do anymore. No matter how many times we're knocked down, we need to get back up again. We need to rebuild. We need to take what we have left. It might look like garbage, it might look like something that's discarded, but we take what we have, we use it to step up, to be better and not to be bitter. Everything you can on grace. You have a whole week to do it. Okay, so we'll see you, my friend, next time. Bye-bye for now.